Good afternoon, and I'm here with Dr. Betty Porter Walls, a longtime friend and colleague, and I mean longtime friend and colleague. We go back decades working in the reading field, although we're going to find out some other things about that. Um, so I am, Betty is finally retired just a couple of weeks ago, uh, like the close to 6 decades in the active in education. Did you all hear that? Active in education for all that time. And she's agreed to talk with me about things. And she is one of our favorite people in the world here, especially here in St. Louis and in Missouri, although she's nationally and even internationally known, but for sure here in Missouri and St. Louis. So I want you to, Betty, to tell us a little bit about yourself, both as a reading person, which most people in St. Louis know you as a reading person, but what most people in St. Louis don't realize is that most of your career was actually spent in leadership. So give us a little background on yourself. And Betty, thank you very much for doing this.
Oh, Sam, good afternoon, and thank you so very much. We've talked about this quote interview for so long, and yes, we've known each other, I think, Sam, for more than 50 years.
I think you're right. I think you're
More,
right.
more than 50 years ago, we go back such a long time, but thank you for this opportunity. I've looked forward to this for a very, very long time. I've read all your blogs and your interviews, and I said, well, why would Sam want to interview me? We are friends and colleagues, but I'm not an important person, so to speak. So I'm humbled and I'm thrilled to do this. So thank you for the opportunity, Sam. I'm looking
Okay,
forward to
well, I'll
this.
just chime right in here and say, I know you're a humble person, but I also know that especially to your colleagues here in St. Louis and the hundreds and hundreds of students and teachers you've taught over the years, that you're a very important person. You're a VIP. So I'll just be quiet for a minute and let you continue.
Quiet, quiet, quiet. A little bit about me. I have been in education for a very, very long time. And if you ever see any of my emails, have you ever looked at the bottom what it says? It says, a day without reading is like an unsharpened pencil. It has no point. I truly, truly believe in reading. I believe in books. And if you ever when you come back to the house, please come and look in my office. It's books. I am always surrounded by books. And before I took my first trip on any airplane, I had already traveled the world through books. I love to read, and I think that if we believe in children, we believe in growth, we believe in humanity, the greatest thing is to give a child a book. So if you want to know anything about me, you know that I love books. And a quickie story about my family. Our family always gets together on Christmas Eve. It's a family tradition. It's always here at our house. So all the children come together, all the family, and we open all of our gifts on Christmas Eve. All of the kids know that they're going to get a gift from me. They usually leave it for last. And you know why? They always say, if it's from Betty, it's books. They love the books, but they wait for last because they know if it's from Betty, it's books. They love them, but it's books. They want to do the books last. Then they will enjoy them later. But about me, although I love books and I love reading, I spent the vast majority of my career in central office administration. And when I was not in administration, I was at the university level as a professor. I started my career like so many educators in St. Louis public schools. Spent a few years in classroom, about 6, and the rest of that was in central office administration. What did I do in administration? Hmm. After I left the principalship, I was curriculum coordinator, director of state and federal programs. Um, what else have I done? Title I director, director of curriculum and instruction, uh, Jeepers, human resource director. Oh, so very many different jobs. And guess what? I loved each one of them. How many
Well,
school
I'm
districts in
going
the
to
St.
interrupt you
Louis
for a
area?
minute and not let you
Six.
forget BTAP. Don't forget BTAP.
Oh my gosh. And of course, I led professional development in five different school districts. So, developer and curriculum instruction and professional development go right together. Love professional development. So, I have done that for so many different school districts. And as a part of professional development in those school districts, you always have to deal with new teachers. The Beginning Teachers Assistance Program, BTAP, for the state of Missouri, did that for several school districts. And for many years, I coordinated the Beginning Teachers Assistance Program for the St. Louis Public Schools as a consultant. And I've done consulting work for many years for several different school districts. Sam is one of my consultants up until 2 years ago when we stopped the program for the BTAP program for St. Louis Public Schools. So many things. Sam's an excellent presenter, you all. So whenever you
Well,
want
thank
some
you.
skill work done, call Sam. He's wonderful. So, Sam, that's an idea of some of the things I've done. But in leadership, I was a professor at Mizzou for several years in the ELPA department, Educational Leadership and Policy Analysis. And in that program, our students were aspiring principals and superintendents. So I taught aspiring administrators. Loved that position. Loved being on campus and loved teaching those who wanted to become aspiring administrators. I have started several aspiring leadership programs. Started that job at Riverview Gardens and did the same thing in University City. Teachers who might want to be principals. Several of the young people with whom I worked, they are still my mentees. And believe it or not, folks, I still get calls from some of my mentees who are now principals, assistant superintendents, director of curriculum instruction in Kansas City, University City School Districts. I have one who's already in the state of Washington. I still get calls from my mentees. Sam, you have met several of them at the parties that are held here at my house. Some of them, I still call them my girls or my guys. They still come. I love my mentees. They're all over the place and they're doing such wonderful things. I am so proud of what my young people have become. And to just see them blossom is just so beautiful. And I just love it. So I am honored by who these young people are. It's just fantastic. So that's me. I
Okay.
love it. But reading is still my thing. So all of this leadership is what I did professionally. But during all of that time, I still was a member of the International Reading Association, still attended all of my IRA meetings, kept my membership alive. And then when I retired, the third retirement, I think it was the third retirement, was when I became a faculty member professor at Harris Stowe State University in St. Louis. And that's when I gave my job professionally to teaching reading. So I ended my career as a professor of reading. Can you believe it?
Well, what I'm thinking here is what you've described is probably enough to fill uh, the resume of about three or four different people. You've just had worn so many hats and done so many things. I'm going to, before I move on to the next question, I am going to chime in that I know that you were honored by the governor, and we're going to talk about some of your other honors in a little bit. But you've been honored at Harris Stowe, and I'll tell you what. Whenever I walk into any of those kind of gatherings from Harris Stowe, you are a star at that kind of gathering. So God bless you for all those things you've done. Now, that said,
Mhm.
now we're off to what I know is near and dear to your heart, the story about the Literacy is a Family Affair project. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
My literacy is a family affair project. Oh, jeepers. I also do volunteer work or have done volunteer work. And one of my favorite organizations, excuse me. Oh gosh, what's happening here? I love giving books away. So over my lifetime, I just don't know how many books I have given away. And I love giving books to children. And so the Family as a Literacy Affair is a project I have done with students and children all over the place. But in St. Louis, there's one organization, one community service group that I used to take my kids to, and we would go and read to children. And as a part of this process, we had 6 partners. And I would take my students, we would read to children. And as a part of that, we had families, we had parents to come in. My students were there. We would read to the children. Families would come. We had 6 partners. Let me tell you who these partners were. Harris Stowe State University, the St. Louis chapter of the International Reading Association, St. Louis Public Schools. I had some of their teachers who were volunteers who would join with us. The St. Louis Black Authors, the I See Me St. Louis Bookstore, and Walls Educational Services, which is my small little association itself. We would all come together at a community group. Children would meet there after school. We would gather with their parents. I had a group meeting with the parents working on homeschool discipline, parenting skills. My students who were in my reading block of classes at Harris Stowe, how to teach reading and writing, children's literature, teaching the language arts. This was their community service project. I would drive Harris Stowe's little bus. We would go to the community agency. This was their community service project. They would then utilize the skills they were learning in class to work with the young people who were there after school. They would be implementing the skills we had been learning in class. The members of St. Louis Authors would be working with parents on the parenting skills. We would be utilizing books from my personal library with the kids. The children would then select a book to take home. The community agency would serve snacks. It was just absolutely fabulous. That program went on for 10 years. It continued before and after I left Harris Stowe State University. The program was written up in several newspapers. It received awards from St. Louis Argus, and it was deserved such honors that it was a professional development program that was awarded an honor by the state of California. And I also took it as a professional development that was introduced at a conference all the way in Hawaii.
All right.
All the
Okay.
way in Hawaii. It was wonderful. That was my first time in Hawaii, was to do a professional development conference to introduce my literacy is a family affair, and that was the name of the project. I
I,
ended that project about 6 years ago. And
okay.
in that project, I gave away over 500 books to young people because you did not leave a session without a self-selected book.
Now, I want you to also briefly mention about the 3 course literacy block of teaching reading that you did as part of this at Harris Stowe. So,
Yes, we were teaching, that's a pre-service program. So for the state in the state of Missouri, there are some required reading courses for certification as a reading specialist. And the 3 courses that were required in the reading block, teaching reading and writing, English language arts, and children's literature. Those were the three courses in the reading block. That's a 6-hour college credit block. And so all prospective teachers in the state of Missouri must take those 6 credit hour courses. And so those are the three courses. You have to take them in the same semester.
Okay.
And so those were the courses, and the children loved them. And they're my favorite courses. Every semester that I was at Harris Stowe, when they were taught, I would have an excellent time. My favorite courses.
Okay. Uh, I'm going to move on to the Federal Reserve Bank Award, but before I do,
Mhm.
since I personally took part in some of this, I know that you had an early childhood program at Harris Stowe itself, and absolutely every year you brought in uh, lots of people, myself included, to read to the youngsters in your preschool program. So I believe it was for the Read Aloud Day each year. So just tell us briefly about that.
Yes, for the read alouds, I would do 2 read alouds every year while I was at Harris Stowe, and I would invite community leaders and community people to the Early Childhood Center. We had an Early Childhood Center on campus. And so, as a part of the read in activities, I love read ins, we would have people come into the Early Childhood Center. We would gather together. We had so much fun. Oh my gosh, so much fun. Sam, you'll have to tell them about our read ins. But adults would come in. Most of them were not teachers, and that was the beauty of the read ins. The beauty of the read ins. All of our readers, most of our readers were my students, of course. They had to be in my reading block. And then we would have other people from campus. And on campus, we would have the custodians, the nurses, professors and teachers from all departments, not education. We had people who were coming in from the arts and sciences. There would be people from the math department. So we would have instructors and teachers from all departments on campus, people from the community. We had people who were coming, we had police officers come in. There were one time we had an individual from the zoo. We would have people from the hospitals, just so many community people. We had parents who would come in to read. We would gather around with a whole collection of books. We would give directions on what the read in was. Our readers, all the adults, would gather together, select books that they liked. All the books were my personal books. They were all elementary and preschool books, early readers. Early readers, they were all picture books, children's literature picture books, because remember, this was an early childhood center. So these were all picture books. We gathered around, we went through the process of how to do a picture book, picture talk, actually. Everyone would suggest select 2 or 3 books and get a partner, and we dispersed throughout the center. And Sam, please tell them what fun you all had when you went to the
Well,
classrooms.
I had fun on a couple of different levels. First, and we're talking preschool here, and
Yes, it was
those are
preschool
just
center.
darling, darling children. It's just an amazing thing. Uh, the other part was because we went in pairs and each of us took a turn. There's many a time I got to see some of the people that they're not teachers, but they are. Their parents are their other people, and they just took to it like ducks to water. And you did just enough. You and your in servicing. You did a very quick in service with them. And got them so that they could really do a good job with this. And they came away feeling great, and the kids came away feeling great. So those were the days.
Those were the days. Thanks, Sam. Our readings were so much fun. Oh, I forgot to tell, I did professional development in all of those districts. And so the read-ins were a part of professional development, but we had such fun. And so the trip to Hawaii was a part of that professional development that got me there to talk about the read-ins and the family affair project that had been so much fun. It was just joyful, just absolutely
Okay.
joyful.
Now, speaking of other award-winning things you've done, tell us briefly, please, because we're going to run out of time here,
Oh, I'm sorry.
about the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis Honors Award that you got.
Oh, I served on the educators advisory committee for the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank. The Federal Reserve Bank has an educators program. And all through the year, the Federal Reserve Bank does have an educational outreach program for utilizing money and finances in classrooms. And so I served on their education advisory board, excuse me, to review their curriculum for schools, to advise the writers to utilize their resources in classrooms, etc. So they always provided for me professional development materials that I could use in my classrooms and to use for professional development. So I served on their board for more than, oh, I guess about 25 years. And so that was while I was teaching and also while I was on in administration. So I was honored by the by the Federal Reserve Bank a couple of years ago before I retired. It was just absolutely beautiful. So my entire family was there to see me receive that award, and I was also on their online, what was that? Their annual report. So if you go on their online board of directors review, that video might still be there where you see me utilizing their materials, teaching children in the Clay Center on the Harris Stowe website. So you might see me on their board. So it's a
Right.
lot of fun.
Oh, and I'll tell you what, we could go on and on and on. You have a very long and deep involvement all the way, and I'm glad that some of our St. Louis friends are now learning that it wasn't just in reading; it was also in leadership. Now, now I'll talk about, I think I'm going to bring it to a close by talking about this last thing and something that was near and dear to my heart. You can explain the term BTAP in just a minute, but ladies and gentlemen, I got to watch this wonderful lady begin those BTAP introductions many a time with these very beginning teachers and all the wonderful advice that she gave. So I'd just like for you to pretend for a moment that we're back in
Oh,
that setting. And what kind of advice would you give for teachers, and not just reading teachers, but you're a person with incredible experience. Uh, what's your advice about teachers and what they should be doing? And I'll let you explain what BTAP means, and then go ahead and give that advice.
Sam, you give me too much credit here, but thank you. One of the things I always say to beginning teachers, veteran teachers, to anybody, that education, life is about the big R, my big, big R. That's relationships, folks. It's all about relationships. In this business and any other business, it's about people and treating people with respect. Relationships, relationships, relationships. The Beginning Teachers Program, BTAP, Beginning Teachers Assistance Program. Sam was one of the consultants who worked with me on that Beginning Teachers Assistance Program for so very, very long. And what we did in that program, as required by the state of Missouri, was to assist young teachers in being prepared to go into classrooms to be better teachers, to be better leaders of the instructional program. But you can't be a good leader of an instructional program unless you understand that you're not just not teaching reading, writing, science, or social studies, you're actually teaching people. It's not the subject, it's the person. And so, first and foremost, we have to respect the child, respect the individual who's sitting in front of us. Then we can respect the material. Then we can teach that material. But first and foremost, folks, we have to understand that children are not going to learn the material until they learn that we love them, that we respect them, that they are the most important thing to us, not just that textbook or that material. So I'm looking forward to all of us becoming much more involved in the new learning that we all must get accustomed to, because this is going to really rack my brain as I become accustomed to what's this new IA? I'll try. The brain is becoming a little bit older. And so I'll try, Sam.
Okay.
I never really got into a lot of the new technology, and now it's IA. So we shall see.
We shall see indeed. This has been just a delightful conversation. We could actually, folks, if we dug into all the different things this lady has done, uh, for me personally, for all the teachers and students around the St. Louis area and other places, we would need hours and hours and hours and hours. But I think it's time to wrap things up and say, job well done, Betty. Job well done. Uh, I know I've heard you talk about retirement now for I don't know how many times. This could really be it. You
Oh,
could
I
be.
am retired
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
Sam.
I think she's really
59
serious about it this
continuous
time.
years.
Yeah. So
59 continuous years. That's a long time, Sam.
I know,
But
and
you're not retired.
uh, well, people are telling me I'm flunking retirement, but there it is.
I flunked it several times. I'm not flunking this time. I even
Okay.
told Willie, Willie gave up Right to Learn Conference, right?
Yeah, right. I know.
And I had already told him that 2025 was my last one. I
Uh,
will not conduct another workshop. But I lied to myself because then I came back home and conducted another workshop. But I am done. I did one
well,
last workshop recently for Missouri's juvenile justice system. That's it.
well, ladies and gentlemen, we shall see. But no matter what, this is a amazing, amazing, amazing lady with lots of different things and lots of different ideas. Now, Betty may or may not know that the final thing in all my interviews is a silly little thing that I do, and it's called a Zoom wave goodbye. So, first of all, I'm going to change the view here. I hope you don't
Okay.
mess anything up so
You
that we're
surprising
seeing
me?
both of us. And then what it takes for a Zoom wave goodbye is a huge smile and a wave. So hence the Zoom wave goodbye. So we're going to be saying goodbye to our audience and thank you so much for this delightful conversation.
Bye,
Bye.
Sam.
Bye.
Thank you.
And thank you.
See you soon.